So you're all highly accomplished. You're in university, or you already finished university and you're working. So I'm sure that all of you, no exception, everyone has achieved something great in their lives. But some of you might have felt like a little bit, when this success happened, might have felt a little bit off, right? So something wasn't right. You couldn't really embrace success when it happened to you. So this is our topic today, because this phenomenon is called imposter syndrome. So I'm telling you that these feelings are totally normal, and we all experience it. Most people experience it. And it means that you're an amazing and sensitive human being. So because I believe in experiential learning, I would like today's session highly interactive. So I want you to ask questions, make comments. You can interrupt me anytime. You can raise your hand. You can wave me on the screen. And I also want you to put your phone away, grab a pen and paper, or even taking notes on your computer, and just make tons of notes. So I really want you to immerse yourself in the topic, because this is how the more information you will retain this way. So I don't want this to be just another workshop, another experience that you're here and then you will forget all about it. But I want you really to think about it, topics, asking questions, making comments. So please feel free to chime in anytime. So just a little bit about me, that who I am and what brought me here today. My name is Judith. I'm originally from Hungary. I went to Memorial University. I was doing my master's in 2012. But since I started my own career success coaching and consulting business, which is based in St. John's, Newfoundland, but I work with professionals internationally. So, and in all over Canada, I have my clients. So I do one-on-one career coaching with clients, and I do business consulting with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business owners, and larger business organizations. So the reason why I developed this particular workshop is that I noticed a common denominator among all of my clients. So it doesn't matter whether they are lawyers, psychologists, tech entrepreneurs, or CEOs, or university students. So the one thing that is common with all my clients is that sometimes in their lives, despite their proven successes, sometimes they feel that they're not enough. So they're not good enough. They don't feel belong. So many of them, or I should say almost all of them, needed some tools and techniques to be able to deal with this feeling. So what we're going to capture today is teaching you how to embrace and use your imposter feelings to your own benefit, and how to turn them into tools that will help you achieve great success in whatever you want to be successful at. So by the end of this workshop, you will get so much more than what you expect. You will gain clarity on the core concept of imposter syndrome, or phenomenon, as some call it. You will be able to identify your own imposter archetype. We will be learning 5 strategies to use imposter syndrome to your own benefit. And finally, and I'm hoping that we'll have enough time, but you will be able to experience my magic coaching technique when it comes to overcoming these nagging feelings. So I think we did just this. I would have loved to do a roll call, but due to the time constraint, and we're so many of us here today, which I'm so happy for it, we can't do a roll call. But for those of you who haven't left your name in the chat box, please do so. And also, I'm interested in that, have you ever doubted your capabilities despite your success? A yes or no, leave it in the chat box. And then also, please gauge your self-confidence as it is now on a scale 1 to 5. So 1 is that you have very low self-confidence, and 5 is you have all the confidence in the world. So I would like you to leave your answer in the chat box. I score myself five. Oh, hold on. How can I make it larger, this chat box? There we go. Carrie Ann, PhD students, maritime studies. Katie, number 2. Yes, all the time. Number 3, oddly enough, I score myself 5 out of 5. Lindsay, number 2, and yes, 4.5 out of 5. That's awesome. That's pretty high, guys. Do you need this? Do you need this workshop at all? Is there anything else that I can do for you? So Chelsea, absolutely doubted my capabilities, would gauge my self-confidence as 3, a moderate. And Katie said, yes, I guess that's you're answering my question if you need this, if you need this workshop. Excellent. And we also have a 2.5 or a 3 in terms of self-confidence. Someone said a 4. And then Emma said, I doubt myself all the time. I have an incredible supervisor who helps keep me floating at a 3 in confidence, but self-confidence is 2. Okay, so I can guarantee you, Emma, that your score will get better by the end of this. All right. So let me start with my own story, because it's always so powerful. I feel that it's always so powerful to share our vulnerabilities with other people, because this eventually will turn into our greatest strength. So my own first experiences with imposter syndrome happened in 2012 after moving to Canada. So I was born and raised in Hungary, in Europe. And as you can tell, that English is not my first language. So I was 32 years old when I first moved to Canada, and I went to Memorial University to do my master's. And I used to be a lawyer in Hungary, so a confident at that. I had a PhD in law. I was practicing criminal law, and before we moved to Canada. So when I was applying for Memorial University, I had an insecurity about my English proficiency, and I did an IELTS test as a requirement, as it was a requirement for getting accepted to a master's program. And I remember that the minimum score requirement was 7, I believe, out of 9, and then I had a 6.5. So this is when my imposter kicked in, and I realized that, oh my gosh, I didn't meet the minimum requirement. At the same time, I got accepted. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna email them and tell them that, hey guys, you made a mistake, because my score is only 6.5, so it must have been someone else's mistake to get me accepted. And then I was told that, Judith, you are way overqualified for a master's program. You had a PhD in law, you had all this research background, etc., etc. So we didn't make a mistake. This was your achievement, your success. And then the next time that I can remember, like something similar, when my inner imposter kicked in again, it was when I was applying for a job with the provincial government. So I was applying for this job, and I got the job. And when I got the job, I thought that, oh, okay, so probably I must have gotten the job because no one else applied. So I was the only candidate who applied. That's the only way I could succeed, right? And then when I started working there, obviously the colleagues told me that there were more than 35 applications, and 10 people got interviewed, but they selected, or they chose you because of your background, because of all your knowledge, etc. And then finally, when I was hired by the Department of Justice, at the time it was Andrew Parsons, the minister. And then I felt truly sorry for him, because I thought that he made a mistake, because anyone else could have been a better employee or could have been a better candidate, but they chose me, and I was like, okay, so really I have to prove my worth. But as a result of my lacking self-confidence, I didn't speak up at the meetings. I was like, I tried to be invisible. I didn't share my ideas. I totally didn't show my worth at all. So it's backfired my self-confidence, whole self-confident thing. So what is this strange, mysterious syndrome or phenomenon, as some call it, right? Then I think it's spreading faster than any virus. So before COVID, I used to joke with that we're having a pandemic of I'm not good enough. But now I don't want to joke with that we're having a global pandemic, because it's not funny anymore. It was before, actually. But I think that the I'm not good enough syndrome or imposter syndrome affects more people than any virus in the world. Probably it's not true anymore, obviously. So the term imposter syndrome originates from a research paper published in 1978 by two psychologists, Pauline Clance and Susan Imes. So the two scientists studied an interesting phenomenon among highly educated professional women. That is, the interesting phenomenon was that they struggled to feel deserving of their own success and accomplishment. So this is how it all started. And they defined imposter syndrome as a mindset in which people believe they're not worthy of success, or have a persistent belief in their lack of intelligence, skills, or competence. So it's the tendency to doubt the obvious evidence of our own abilities and the difficulty to internalize our own accomplishments. So basically, imposter syndrome or phenomenon or feelings happen when we achieve something great, yet we're convinced that we didn't deserve it. And we rather attribute it to the accomplishment to chance or charm or connections or any other external factors. In my case, it was other people's mistakes, right? So I thought that I was mistakenly accepted to university. And then I thought that, oh, I was mistakenly were given by a job. So it was other people's mistakes. It wasn't my accomplishment. It wasn't my achievement. I never pat my own shoulder, but I felt that, oh, okay, so now I have to prove twice as much because they made a mistake. So now I have to prove myself. And it is detrimental in the long term. So let's look at the most common symptoms of imposter phenomenon. So I divide this to personal life, professional life, and in your personal, not you as in a general you. So in people's personal life, there is a chronic sense of being unworthy. So in people who are feeling like a fraud or a phony or an imposter, they doubt their own abilities and intelligence, attributing their success to sheer luck. They're being modest with accomplishments, and they're dismissing any praise they are given. So I want to share my own, my own imposter mantra, how I dismiss praise all the time. And I love this funny graphic, because this is me. So when someone said that I love your work, I said, no, your family, you have to say that. Or no, you're my friend, so you have to say that. And when some strangers complimented on my work, I said that, okay, so they're strangers, so they have to say that. And this is so typical. This was my imposter mantra. But as I said at the definition, that imposter syndrome is a mindset. So, and at that, you can change that, and you can turn your imposter mantra into something more healthy and helpful, actually. So now I skip back these slides, go back to, so any of these sound familiar? So please share with me in the chat box if any of these sound familiar to you. Have you ever experienced that in your personal life? It could be people, yes, Sarah said yes, feeling like a fraud, yes, especially the last two, being modest and dismissing praise, very typical. Yamadura said yes. Rebecca, yes. So what are the common symptoms in professional life, right? So people, like to me, is, yeah, and Chelsea said that attributing it to luck. Emma, absolutely, I can rationalize away any. So what's the symptom in a professional life, as it was for me when I didn't speak up at meetings, I didn't share my ideas. Definitely, I wouldn't be able to ask for a promotion or a raise. I was flying under the radar. I'm rather the workaholic side rather than a procrastinator, but procrastination is a form of stress relief, and at that it's a sign of imposter syndrome. And people say that procrastination and workaholism could go hand in hand. And people who are self-sabotaging your career, they don't dare to dream big. They, go big or go home. But there are so many people who are holding back and staying little. And people who stay little, they have a small life, right? So if you're small, then your life is small too. So any of these sound familiar? And then I really like that you guys picking up in the chat box. So feeling like people don't see the real me. If they see my imperfections, they will realize I'm an imposter and I don't deserve it. I can hear you, Sarah. And I just want to let you know that it's totally okay. And also, I want to let you know that probably 99% of all human beings are feeling the same, whether they talk about it or not. And Chelsea said that procrastination and workaholism, if that makes sense. Totally. Katie, procrastination. Emma, I can rationalize away any praise. That's right. It's very common. And Emma, I procrastinate a lot and I have a hard time coming up with deliverables that counter me being an imposter. So good news is that I'm giving you guys the tools towards the end, towards the other half of the presentation. I will give you some tools, what to do, how to do it, to capitalize on this feeling. So what is the negative impact? Because we just discussed the common symptoms of imposter syndrome, but what's the price the imposter is paying for keeping those feelings, right? What are the consequences? So the negative impact and the consequences on your mental health is, and some call it the most, the Fantastic Four, the anxiety, depression, perfectionism, and painful self-doubt. These are the most devastating impacts on our mental health. And the negative impact on our career is that, as we discussed it, we are holding back, we're missing opportunities and promotions. We are becoming workaholics and procrastinators. We are being unmotivated, we're burning out, and we're definitely not getting promoted. And finally, as a business owner, some of you might run a side business or a small business. And as a business owner, that your responsibility to address imposter syndrome in the workplace, because otherwise leaders will face many consequences. Because if a team has a reigning feeling of being an imposters, then they're not going to be able to utilize their talents, it harms teamwork. There will be performance issues and low workplace morale, including gossip. So this is all the negative impacts of having imposter syndrome. So now I want you, instead of doing a poll, again, I will be using or ask you to use the chat box. So which is your inner monologue? Which one is your imposter mantra, if you will? Who am I to do this? I am not good enough. I don't deserve to be or to have something. Or I can't start or stop until I'm 200% ready. I can't charge anyone for this. I have no idea what I'm doing. Or they can't see who I really am. Or maybe you don't have imposter thoughts, right? So let's look at the answers. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I have no idea what I'm doing. I can't charge for this. I'm an artist as well as a librarian. Exactly. I can't charge people for this. Again, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve the good I get. I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, it's very, very common thoughts and common thoughts among the most successful people, really. So let's do a little trivia. The facts about imposter syndrome, and I will check if you paid attention. So question number 1, imposter syndrome can happen to anyone. Is it true or false? True, true. Chelsea, Lindsay, true. Madura, true. True, Emma. Yes. So it's in fact up to 70% of all people have experienced at least once in their lifetime. But I don't believe that the real number is just as low as 70% because I have yet to meet someone who has never ever had any imposter thoughts or feelings, right? Next question. Women and certain minority groups more likely to feel like imposters. Is it true? True. Rebecca, true. Sarah, true. Chelsea, true. Madura, true. Emma, definitely true. Yes, that is definitely true. Although imposter syndrome or feelings is a universal phenomenon among women and men as well. So there are a lot of men who are experiencing that too. Yet it presents itself disproportionately in women and minority groups, especially in traditionally male-dominated fields like the legal profession or women in science, technology, engineering, and math, which is called STEM fields. So yes, it is true that disproportionately higher numbers are among women and minority groups. Next question. Imposter syndrome only presents itself in individuals who are inexperienced, unskilled, or unqualified for the job. Rebecca, false. Chelsea, false. Katie, false. Sarah, false. Madura, false. That's right. So super, super successful, driven, and highly qualified people feel like a fraud too. As a matter of fact, the more educated you are, the more intelligent you are, the chances are that you will feel more, you will have more imposter thoughts like intruding feelings about being not good enough. So high achievers who work in fast-paced, very competitive work environments are even more susceptible to experience it. So these people on a screen are all openly and publicly talked about their feelings as imposters. So Michelle Obama, Jodie Foster, Jennifer Lopez, Tom Hanks, and even Albert Einstein all shared their struggles to feel deserving of their own success. So just a little bit of a recap. Could you try again? A little recap. If you're a human being, if you consider yourself a high achiever, if you want to become more successful than you already are, And if there are things that you haven't tried doing yet, chances are that you have imposter thoughts and feelings, or at least you had at some point in your life. And that just make you a perfectly human being. So to make sure that I imprint this into your brain, if you haven't realized that, there are people who get imposter syndrome, other people who get imposter syndrome, and then the rest of the world who's literally getting imposter syndrome. So it's funny, but it's so true that everyone feels like an imposter sometimes, and that's okay. So everyone, by everyone, I mean even your boss, even your supervisor, even your friend, even your sister, even your parents, everyone feels like an imposter sometimes. You're not alone in that. The only thing is that we don't talk about it enough, but that doesn't mean that people who don't talk about it, they don't experience it. So now let's look at the root causes, why we have it, right? So I grouped the reasons in three categories. So number one is family dynamics. So when your family's expectations, when you were growing up and your family's expectations were too high, then maybe they considered you a genius and who's superior to others in every possible way, or the opposite. So they secretly doubt your intellect and try to compensate and wonder every time how the hell you succeeded, right? It's just, you're the sensitive in the family, you're the softy, you're the scattered, you're the lazy, you're the whatever you are. And they just kind of every single time when you achieve something, they were like, oh, really? How did you do that? So that's a very, very toxic family dynamics. However, I have to tell you that even great parenting can cause imposter feelings. So when your family is praising you all the time that you're the best, you're the most beautiful, you're the most talented person on earth, that can also cause imposter feelings in a person. So please don't blame it on your family. Don't blame it on your parents. They did their best raising you up, but that's just how it is. So now the onus is on you to do something about it, and that's why you're here today. And then the second category is societal stereotyping as a root cause. So it may come later on in your life, but it may start in, high school or at university or the first job that you did. And it's later on in your life. But for example, when women are considered less able intellectually than men, for example, when a woman breaks the glass ceiling and lands a position that has never been held by a woman before, she can easily have feelings that she doesn't belong, that who am I to be here? Oh, this is nothing. This is, I was lucky, or I was this or that. And then finally, the third category of root causes I call it the comparison trap. And this is, it's any kind of social situation that involves some kind of ranking, right? And when you compare some part of you, to someone else's part that you think and then it's a lose-lose situation because you can never win. And this creates the gap in the mind. So I compare my worst part to your best part, and there is a gap in me. And it's inevitably, when we do the comparison, we always compare ourselves to people who are better, or who, and people who we know, and then but we don't know enough about their lives. So your sister, your neighbor, your friend, your colleague, your mother, your whomever it is that you compare yourself to, but that's always, you're looking up to them because they're high achievers, or they're successful, or they did something great. and then you feel that so inferior to them. So which one of you think is the root cause of your feelings? Anyone want to share? That is it family dynamics? Is it how you were raised? Or is it the societal stereotyping or workplace stereotyping? Or is it the comparison that you're comparing yourself to other people who you think they're high achievers or they're highly successful? Comparison, Emma, comparison, definitely. Chelsea, I love that. I think a mix of all three, but mostly comparison. Exactly. Yes, that's so true. There is no one reason for imposter syndromes, right? It's always blended. It's always a mix of a lot of things. Probably started with one, but now three. Rebecca, stereotyping. 50% family, 45 comparison, and 5 societal. So true. So true. Excellent. So what's common in each of these cases is that the imposter persistently doubts their ability or competence. Doesn't matter where the imposter feelings stem from. Doesn't matter if it's family, society, or comparison. It's the same result. The imposter is persistently doubts their abilities or competence. So there are 5 archetypes of imposters. And there's an expert on the subject, Dr. Valerie Young. Maybe you want to look her up. And she has categorized people who were experiencing the syndrome into 5 subgroups. So through her personal research, Dr. Young uncovered several competence types. And these are the internal rules that people who struggle with confidence attempt to follow. So let's look at these. So, and I put these characteristic into stories, and so I try to personalize these categories. So let's look at Karen, the perfectionist, right? As the older lady with the white hair. So Karen is a lawyer and a mom of 3 boys. Karen wants to be perfect in all her roles and as a mom, wife, friend, while succeeding in her career. She sets excessively high goals for herself. She wants to be 100% perfect 100% of the time. She's often obsessing over minor things, like a font she used in a presentation or using a comma in the wrong place. The boys' clothes must be ironed and folded with military precision. When Karen fails to reach a goal, however minor it is, she experiences major self-doubt and worry about measuring up, and she sees it as the end of the world. She is convinced that if she wants something to get done right, she has to do it herself. This is, for example, people who are micromanagers and who has difficulty with delegating. And now let's look at Anne, the expert. So Anne considers herself a lifelong learner who measures her value based on what and how much she knows or can do. She feels that she has to have 100 qualifications like degrees, training certificates before she goes out in the world and share her expertise. She's considering going back to school for the 4th time to earn a master's degree in her most current field of interest. Believing she will never know enough, she has a constant fear of being exposed as inexperienced or unknowledgeable. Let's look at the superwoman, aka the workaholic. So Barb, a junior web designer in a prestigious marketing company, she's convinced that she's a phony amongst the real deal colleagues. She feels lucky that she got the job despite being inexperienced. Therefore, she often pushes herself to work harder and harder to measure up. She's always available, responding to emails over the weekend and even at night. She never goes on vacation because afraid of missing out and then not being able to catch up. The work overload has recently started harming her own mental health, her relationship with her fiance, and she started developing an autoimmune disease. Let's look at the natural genius. Ashley, she's a PhD candidate. She believes she needs to be a natural genius who succeeds at everything on a first try. She judges her competence based on how fast and easily she can succeed. Doesn't matter if it takes a long time to master something, she feels shame. As a child, she was always getting straight A's and gold stars in everything she did. She's the first child, and her family had extremely high expectations with her. They considered her the smart one and expected to behave like that. She's fearful of disappointing her family. And then finally, the fifth archetype is the soloist. Gina is a one-person army. She's a sufferer who feels as though asking for help reveals her phoniness. She has to achieve everything on her own, otherwise it doesn't count as success. Gina wants to be independent to the extent that she even refuses assistance from family members and colleagues so that she can prove her worth. And now the interesting part. Which archetype do you identify with the most? So chances are, and again, we're using the chat box. Okay, Katie, superwoman and soloist. And in the meantime, let me tell you that the chances are that you can identify with more than one competence type, but I found that everyone has a leading, a dominant archetype and some characteristics from other types. So Rebecca is the expert, Chelsea, the perfectionist. Oh, I lost you. Chelsea, perfectionist. Sarah, perfectionist. Emma, soloist, but there are attributes to all. Exactly. Madura, perfectionist. And it's so interesting because it's always the perfectionist is the top archetype. Whenever I do this workshop, it's when we do the polls, you can see the numbers, the exact numbers, and it's always the perfectionist. So it's very typical. Great. So I love this quote. Actually, I still have it's from Michelle Obama. I still have a little imposter syndrome. It never goes away. That feeling that you shouldn't take me seriously. What do I know, right? So I'm still, and she also says that I am still Michelle from the east side of Chicago, which she was, where she was growing up. So it's so important to talk about the solutions. So I attended many workshops, watched TED Talks, read books, and research on this topic. And the advice is somewhere along the line to how to beat imposter syndrome, how to combat imposter syndrome, how to fight, how to get rid of, how to ignore, and most typically, how to overcome these imposter thoughts in our lives. And I was asking the questions in my head at the time that, okay, so why do I have to necessarily, overcome? Why do I want to overcome? Why do I want to fight? Why do I want to beat? Why do I want to combat my own thoughts and feelings? That creates internal tension. I don't want to do that. So it doesn't work this way. And no wonder that people, after so many years, all dealing with imposter feelings, right? And people are getting frustrated about it that, okay, so I tried everything under the sun to get rid of my imposter thoughts and I couldn't. Of course, because you can't. You can't. This is always be part of you. It's part of who you are. It's the personality and your characteristics, your characteristic or personal traits that brought you here. This is who you are. You don't have to fight. You don't have to combat who you are. Except what I teach my clients is nothing good can ever come from out of resistance to what is. When you don't want something to happen that is actually happening, then you are giving just more energy and more attention to the things that you don't want to have, or you want to have less of, right? So where focus goes, energy flows, and inadvertently you create more of the things that you don't want to have. So the solution is come to terms with your inner imposter. It's using your imposter thoughts to your own benefits. And that's a completely different relationship, with yourself. It's not, oh, I hate this part of me. No, I love this part of me. This is what brought me here. This is what made me who I am today. So if you change your relationship to your imposter thoughts and feelings, let's just accept and embrace them, right? So you can benefit from them and use them as a psychological fuel to help you thrive. So it's developing a new mindset will lead definitely to new results. And that's why I put the word mindset in the definition. If you remember when I was talking about the definition of imposter syndrome, it's a mindset. And as a mindset, you can change how you react to it, how you can change what you think about it. So shift your mindset from judging imposter syndrome as something bad and you need to get rid of, to something good for you. So this is just growing pain. What if you have misjudged imposter syndrome all along? So what if it's a good thing? What if the more you feel like an imposter, the better you perform? The more you feel like an imposter, the more you're willing to work hard and smart. Look at imposter syndrome as a growing pain that will eventually, pass or will become your friend. Accept it as normal. So now you know that everyone and their dog has it. So why we feel bad about it? Nobody likes to fail. Nobody likes to make mistakes, but we all do. And it's totally normal. So accept these thoughts as part of your identity. Embrace your imposter thoughts and feelings and turn them into motivation. And of course, if I don't want you to keep something that's debilitating or paralyzing and think that this is good for you, right? Therefore, I offer you 5 strategies to practice taming your imposter thoughts and feelings. So let's look at the strategies. And just I'm checking on the time because I want to have some time at the end for Q&As. So the 5 strategies that I always talk to my clients about is that number 1, identify your imposter thoughts and feelings. This is exactly what we did. So you don't know what you have until you can label it, and then you're able to treat it. So start with observation and then analyze your thoughts and think about what kind of situations trigger my imposter thoughts. What is my natural reaction to those? Is it something that I'm becoming fearful, so I don't do it? Or is it something that I overdo? Or is it, what is your natural reaction? And then what kind of situation triggers them? Is it a family dinner with your parents or your in-laws that always triggers your inner imposter? Or is it a work meeting, or is it a presentation? Is it public speaking? What is it that triggers your internal imposter? And it's, don't judge yourself. Don't say that, oh, I'm like this. I hate that I can't speak in public. I hate that I can't speak up for myself at the dinner table, or I hate this, I hate it. No, it's just observe and accept that, oh, you know what? This is what's always happening. I wonder why it's happening all the time when we get together with the family or when we do this or that. So it's number one, identifying what kind of imposter thoughts you have, right? List them. What are the imposter thoughts that are coming back over and over again to your head? It's, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I don't deserve this. So make a list. Then number two, accept the list as part of who you are. It's part of your identity. And you don't have to get rid of it. Send some love of this part in you. So I love that I always feel that I can succeed because this is what really fuels me to succeed at work, or this is what fuels me to work harder. This is what fuels me to, I don't know, meet new people or talk in public or whatever it is that is you feel that your imposter thoughts would help you back, would hold you back from. And then number three, and this is also what we are doing today, is talking about it. Create your own fraud squad. If you talk about it, the more you talk about it, the more you normalize it, right? So, and we all have a responsibility for normalizing imposter feelings because if I talk about it and you can relate to that, then we have a stronger relationship, and it's a more, it's a trustworthy relationship. So you can share your imposter thoughts, I can share mine, and it's not as a heavy burden anymore. So create your own fraud squad. It could be people who you can openly talk to about your feelings, and you know that you won't be judged or criticized or dismissed, right? So talking about it a great first step. But remember that you can't talk yourself out of imposter syndrome. So it's just because we're talking about it, it's not going to change. The thoughts will come to your head over and over again. So there needs to be action taken, and then the action is step number 4. It's practice reframing. So reframe your thoughts in a way a non-imposter would. So think about imposter syndrome as a good thing, and tell yourself that feeling like an imposter is a good sign, because it means that you're onto something big. You're onto some kind of growth. You're onto success, because whenever you're feeling the imposter thoughts or feelings, then you know that, okay, something is happening. It's just I'm not in my comfort zone. I'm leaving or expanding my comfort zone. That's why the intruding thoughts coming. So okay, so something important is happening, something big is happening, something important is happening. That's why I'm having these feelings. So let's do it. And this is what I mean by saying that use imposter feelings as a psychological fuel to motivate yourself to achieve great things. And then finally, seeking advice from, well, you can seek advice from a coach. If it's professional, if it's your professional life that you feel your imposter thoughts are holding you back, you can talk to a career coach. But if it's in your personal life, then you can talk to, a trusted friend or a family member. Again, if it's professional, you can talk to your mentor or a supportive supervisor, or even a colleague who you look up to. So we career coaches are trained to help you succeed, and that includes using imposter syndrome to your own advantage. And then finally, it's my upgraded mantra. Do you remember my mantra, my imposter mantra, that, oh no, you're just saying this because you have to, you're obligated to say that how great I am. So my new mantra, my upgraded mantra is, Imposter syndrome always keeps me on my toes and help me learn how to thrive on the growth that comes from self-doubt. This is my new mantra. So it always keeps me on my toes and help me learn how to thrive on the growth that comes from self-doubt. And then I don't think we have time for this technique, but I would be happy to open the floor for questions and answers. Am I right, Julie, that we have 60 minutes? It's
No,
scheduled.
we actually have an hour and a half.
Do we? Okay.
Yes.
When I checked the link that you sent me, the WebEx link, it was an hour, but I'm more than happy to do the
Yeah, I mean, if there's any extra time, yeah, if you feel that
Okay,
you have time.
cool. So if you guys are ready, then we can do this wonderful coaching technique. So, and this is something that you can use whenever you need a shot of confidence, some optimism, and or you know, self-regard whenever you need it. Wouldn't that be cool to have it in your pocket, right? So whenever you need it, you just take it away and use it. So I'm sharing this secret coaching technique that I only share with my clients, and they call it magic. I'm not sure of it, but of course, why not? So this exercise is 100% voluntary, and I probably stopped sharing my screen. Yeah, and it's 100% voluntary. You don't have to do it. If you don't want to, you can use your camera. You can turn your camera off. I don't need to see you, but Julie, would you mind to put your camera on, because I need some visual clues from at least one participant. Awesome. We had Katie. Cool. Thank you. So we just start with sitting comfortably. You can, you know, you just take a few deep breaths, and you just close your eyes, or you can leave them open, doesn't matter. Few deep breaths, and from head to toe, you just start feeling so comfortable. So I want you to imagine that you relax your skull, your forehead, you relax your eyes and eyelids while taking deep breaths, your facial muscles, your neck, your shoulders, your chest, and just feel good, feel cozy, feel comfortable. Your belly, your arms, relax your thighs, your legs. And when you reach that relaxed state, I want you to imagine a situation that typically triggers your inner imposter. You can think of a concrete situation in the past. Be specific and detailed as much as possible. It could be an ongoing experience, or maybe something that will happen in the future. Any situation that can trigger your self-doubt or other unhelpful imposter thoughts. Now I want you to see the situation, see what you see, hear what you hear, and I want you to feel the physical sensations of feeling like an imposter in that situation. I want you to have those imposter feelings and thoughts right now. Don't hold it back. Now, when you have that, imagine, I want you to raise your non-dominant hand and close this image with the feelings in your fist, in your non-dominant fist. When you're ready, just shake off your hand. Let it go. Now I want you to remember a time in your past when you were clear. It's important that it must be a past memory. So now you have to tap into your experiences and your history, the last time when you were clear. A time when you knew exactly what you had to say and what you needed to do. When you were confident, when there was no ambiguity or confusion. You had this clarity and you acted upon this clarity. I want you to see the situation from your past. See what you see, hear what you hear, and I want you to feel when you had this crystal clear clarity. Now, when you have that, I want you to raise your dominant hand and grasp this image with the feelings in your palm and close it in a fist. When you're ready, you just shake off your hand. Okay, so we're bringing up the next memory. I want you to remember a time when you were confident in yourself. Doesn't matter if you were 5 years old or 25, or it happened just last week. I want you to remember a concrete situation that happened in the past when you felt all the confidence in the world. I want you to see what you saw with your own eyes. I want you to hear what you heard with your ears. And I want you to feel how you felt when you had this unshakable confidence. I want you to immerse yourself in this confident state. And when you have that, just raise your dominant hand and grasp this image with the feelings with your hand and close it in a fist. In your dominant fist. Whenever you're ready, just shake off your hand. Okay, now last memory. I want you to remember of a situation from your past when you were relaxed, not lazy or binge watching Netflix exhausted type of relaxed, but when you experience a beautiful, relaxed energy, physically and mentally. This could be during a workout, running the marathon, cooking, meditating, reading, hiking. Someone among us is an artist, so painting or creating art, whatever that can put you in a relaxed state. And I want you to experience this relaxed state. I want you to see what you see with your own eyes. I want you to hear what you hear with your ears. And I want you to feel how you felt when you had this relaxed energy. Now, when you have that memory relived, raise again your dominant hand and grasp this image with the feelings in your hand and close it in a fist. So you're feeling relaxed now. You're in a relaxed state. And whenever you're ready, shake off your hand. So now it's just a little recap, eyes closed. So I want you to remember the situation that triggers your imposter feelings. This is what you're holding in your non-dominant hand. Remember the situation that you imagined that triggers your imposter feelings and you're holding it in your non-dominant hand. Test it. Do you have it? Do you still have it? Okay, now you're testing the memories holding in your dominant hand. So can you see yourself being clear? Just nod if you do. Can you see yourself being fully confident? And can you see yourself relaxed? Okay, now let the magic happen. Hold on your non-dominant hand in a fist and wrap your dominant hand with all these powerful memories around your fist. So your non-dominant hand, and wrap your dominant hand with all these powerful memories around your fist. Hold it as long as you need to feel the empowering memories washing over the situation that upsets you. And whenever you're ready, just open your eyes, and I want you to know what is different now when you think about the triggering situation. What is present for you now, and how are you feeling? Anyone willing to share? Julie, want to share with us how you're feeling about the triggering situation, and how would you gauge your self-confidence after this exercise?
I'm just more relaxed about it. Self-confidence a little bit more. I don't know if I could I don't know if I could put it on a scale, but maybe slightly more than it was. But mostly just more relaxed around the whole situation.
So when you think about it, it's not that upsetting. It's not that horrifying. It's you don't beat yourself up as hard. You know you can handle it. You know you have what it takes to succeed. Is it something that you feel?
Yes, absolutely.
I know it's hard to put in words or feelings. Anyone else want to share? So how would you gauge your self-confidence again after what we just talked about today?
I know a couple have said similar to me, calm, very calm. So
I don't see anything in the. Can you see my screen?
yes.
Okay.
Not now.
Yeah, I stopped sharing.
Okay.
Because really there is no need to share. So this concludes my presentation, and if you guys have any questions or comments, then we have a little, 20 minutes to discuss.
In the meantime, while folks are thinking about questions, I'm just going to put the Edge website in the chat and the calendar, and also just a survey for this session. I didn't want to do that. I normally do that initially, but we had such good thing going in the chat that I said I would wait till the end. So this is the Edge website. And I'm going to post the calendar, and also a reminder that this is the third of a series of events that it offers. There was 2 others. If you look at that calendar, the calendar is still the fall calendar. You'll see the 2 others, and those will be repeated in the winter. So we will be doing these 3 sessions again. And also, I'm just going to put the link.
And I believe thank you, Emma. Thank you guys for being here. Someone is asking if today's recording will be available. Julie?
Yes, if you are a graduate student or registered graduate student, it will be available on Hmong Graduate Commons, which you will see on Brightspace under Edge Recordings and Slides. So I'll have a PDF of the slides there as well as a recording.
And what about those people, folks who are not graduate students?
You can just actually email me if you'd like the recording or the slides. I'll put my email in. And if you're wondering about the instructions on how to access the recording through the Graduate Commons, in that link that I posted to the calendar, it's right at the top. Okay, so Katie's an alumni, so just send me an email, Katie, and I'll actually, I mean, I can still send you the recording. I will be sharing this with Alumni Engagement, and they will be putting it, the recording at least on their website for sure. But you can still email me. I'm happy to share it.
And so if no one has any questions, then thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Lucy. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks. And you can also reach out to me if you have ever any questions.
Thank you, Judith, so much for offering this again. And thanks to everyone for attending and participating.
Thank you, and I will be sending you the slides.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Bye.